And we're back with SGMD. You know, every week on this program, we're going to be taking you into the lives of some pretty fascinating people. They could be scientists, medical innovators, celebrities. Today we're talking to someone who's all three, quite literally. My colleague Josh Levs had the experience of a lifetime. So thanks for joining us, first of all.
You got it.
It's amazing. You delivered your own baby.
Yeah.
This happened at home.
Right.
The first question, I think, in a lot of people's minds is, why or what exactly happened? How did it all occur?
It's not planned, and I would not recommend. I wouldn't recommend planning it. I mean, what happened in our case was that basically my wife skipped labor. She didn't spend any time laboring. She knows what it is to labor. We have an older child.
This is our second child, right?
This is our second child. With our older child, there was 24 hours of labor, which is standard. With this one, all of a sudden, she felt something. Bent over by the bed, was feeling something even more powerful, got down on the floor, boom, within a couple of minutes.
So no contractions beforehand, because she knows what it feels like.
She knows all the steps very well, and she knows what the feelings would be. This is incredibly unusual, but it happened to her. So she's down on the floor and says, call an ambulance. I get on the phone with 911. Here's a little clip of what happened.
What do I do? I'm holding my baby's head.
Okay, listen, I want you to support the shoulders.
Okay.
And hold the hips and legs firmly.
Okay.
And remember, the baby will be slippery, so don't drop it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so is the baby completely out or just the head?
No, just the head. I'm seeing the head. It's not scrunched up.
Let him...
But it's not crying. It's not making noise. Its eyes are shut.
Okay, have her to push hard and get the baby out, okay?
No, push hard. Get the baby out. Push hard, push hard. Oh, my God, I'm holding my baby. There's an umbilical cord, and someone wrapped around his neck. I'm taking it off.
Okay, listen, gently wipe the baby's mouth and nose.
Oh, it's choking. It's choking on the cord. Breathe, baby, breathe. Breathe, baby, breathe. I'm going to leave the cord on.
Let me give you CPR instructions for the baby, okay?
Oh, the baby's breathing.
Is the baby breathing?
Yes, it's breathing.
So you can see there's a bunch of drama there along the way. We skipped 84 seconds in there before I saw my child taking a breath, because at first I just saw the head and then I saw the neck, and it was wrapped, the umbilical cord was wrapped around the neck like a turtleneck 5 times. And until the baby was entirely out, I had to take the time to make sure it was off and finally see that it was breathing, and then
I was listening to that and watching you. I got goosebumps just listening to that, and especially that point where you said, oh my God, I'm holding my baby, and then you recognize this concern about the umbilical cord. I mean, what was it like? What was going through your mind at this time?
Pure adrenaline. An impossible amount of adrenaline and total focus. There was only one thing on my mind, which was to make sure that my child was alive. I mean, you got to understand, a lot of people imagine a sitcom when a guy delivers his baby. Isn't that funny? What actually happened in our case was I thought something was wrong. She was 3 weeks from due date. There was no labor. There was no buildup. She fell to the ground in pain and couldn't talk anymore. And all of a sudden, stuff's coming out. And then I got my baby. And then the umbilical cord around the neck. So all I could do was open up in my mind every real-life birth story I had ever heard and think, what do I know? What do I know? And while the 911 operator was telling me some basic instructions, I knew that the umbilical cord can provide oxygen. And I knew I wasn't going to tie it off until I saw that my child was breathing. I didn't even look down to see the gender. I just held the baby, and I made sure that it could breathe.
And it's worth pointing out that the baby is fine.
It's perfect.
JD.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's amazing. It's grown up.
You already had a son. He was 3 years old at the time, and he was in the room when this all happened. So I'm not sure that's a conversation you may have with him at some point about all that happened. But how has it changed you, though, as a father?
When you're delivering your child and making sure your child can breathe, there's really only one thing that matters in this world, and it's just a reminder of what values are, that if you're a dad, being a dad is number one, and it's this feeling that you want to have, that you want to provide for your child, and it builds a relationship, too, for all of us. Yeah, my older child was there. It just so happened he was in the room, and forever this will be an experience that all of us shared. I don't recommend that people do this. If something had gone wrong, it would have been awful to be home, and the minutes it could take to a hospital would have been a problem. But in our case, it built a really powerful connection, and something that turned out to be really good, really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly will have something, especially if your child is misbehaving at any point. You can say, look, I delivered you, I took the umbilical cord off.
That's right. In his teenage years, I'm going to use that.
Well, people, obviously, as I think you're alluding to, nobody wants to be in this situation.
Right.
You said you were sort of drawing on anything you'd ever watched or learned about delivering a baby. Are there a couple of golden rule should someone find themselves in this situation?
You know what's happened? I, as a result of this, as a reporter and as a guy who was in this situation, wanted to learn what happens in birth, what's normal, what should be expected. So I went and interviewed a doctor who's an expert on this. She has delivered hundreds and hundreds of babies in all sorts of situations. She kind of gave me a little primer. Here's a clip.
And it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for the kiddo to take its first breath, open its eyes, start to move its arms and its legs. So although it was very scary and the baby comes out blue, this is perfectly normal.
I wanted to make sure that I was getting the umbilical cord off of the baby right. I was able to just take it and go like this. Is that the right thing to do?
As the baby comes out, and you're going to take a finger and loop it behind the baby's neck and see if there's a portion of the umbilical cord. If you're able to snag a portion of the umbilical cord, then you're going to pull it gently over your baby's head. And sometimes it is wrapped 1 or 2 or even 3 times around, and you just gently pull it over.
See, this is old hat to you. You know these things.
No, but
I
you know
was
what?
thrust in this situation knowing nothing.
I'm watching and learning because, as you say, it is pure adrenaline at that point.
Yeah.
Came back to work eventually.
Right.
What was the response from your colleagues? Because we'd all heard about this story.
Yeah, you know, because it's so unbelievably unusual. Everyone did. Oh, here, let me show you something. Tristan has something that I brought in today, a little prop. This is something that everyone here at work gave me. Very cute idea. Let me hold it up. Little catcher's mitt. Everyone signed, and I appreciate it, everyone in the newsroom. So thank you very much.
Drop the baby.
I will. No, look, I mean, it's a life-changing experience. I don't want to encourage everyone to go put yourselves in a situation like that, but in our case, it worked out incredibly. I have this amazing, beautiful son, beautiful family, and I'm happy that it happened.
Well, I know some time has passed, and it's not something you were ready to talk about for some time. We appreciate you sharing your story. Also, your blog on CNN.com, amazing. I read it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Doc.
Appreciate it.